Hello everyone and welcome to the Saturday Geeks Linden scripting language tutorial with me, John Parker, and
Me, Jack Ganning, and today we are looking at doing some nice cool special effects, and which I am also keen on learning, which I suppose also many people are also keen to learn as well. So let's get straight into it. So I imagine we're in a cube, aren't we?
yes, the cube is always where you start.
Okay.
Okay, and today we're going to be focusing on that function that we were trying to hide in our previous episodes because it was that long name one, LL set primitive params.
Mhm.
It's a very powerful function. Oh dear, you don't know how powerful this function can do. It affects every setting in the cube apart from the content and the general tab. On the general tab it can affect name and description, but all these others I believe you can't change with it. So that's all set by the person who created the object. So we can set the name with it, we can set the description with it, we can set, I don't think we can set the type. Actually no, yes you can. You can change set the type. I am wrong in that. So actually no, everything on here I think you can change. Everything on here, yes. So basically, this is how you can set the parameters, which is why it says params, of the object that you're working with. So today we're going to be looking at only a few of them. We can't go through every single one of them, of course,
No.
but we're going to look at the transparency and the glow today, because they're the simplest ones that I can find. Also, if we've got enough time, I'll try and focus on the color as well, because you want to set the glow color and whatnot, which is focus off the color of the object. Anyway, so we'll
Yep.
just get rid of this touch start bit. We don't need that for now.
Okay.
What we're going to start on straight away is by trying to set certain parameters using the script. So rather than setting them in the dialogue, let's try setting them in the state entry part. So the first things first, Jack, LL set primitive params. Just type that with two brackets and a semicolon.
Okay.
Then move your cursor into the brackets.
Mhm.
And this is where we've got to start using lists. Now, on the previous videos, we did focus on lists a tiny bit, but there's a little secret. I found out that with LSL, you can't have a list inside a list. Now, Jack, you'll probably be aware that in other programming languages, arrays can have
Array.
arrays inside an array.
Sorry, I've
And
forgotten what you meant by list. I've forgotten all
yeah,
about
a
lists.
list is an array now, so
Okay,
well,
that's fine.
kind of. As you know, that in other programming languages, you can have an array inside an array inside an array if you wanted to.
Mhm.
In LSL, that is not possible. So they worked around it by, as you know, lists are done through square brackets. So you put square brackets inside the main brackets. They worked around it by making all the individual arrays to be consecutive, right next to each other. So if you want to do, for example, a glow on a prim, what you do is you type prim underscore glow, which is a constant because it's turned blue. I think it's
Okay.
blue anyway.
Yeah, it is
Colour
blue.
black.
It's blue.
Yeah. Then a comma, and then after the comma is all the settings for the glow. So the first setting is the face. So what face do you want to make a glow? Now, of course, we want to make the whole thing glow, so we use the constant all. Oops, there we go. All underscore sides. So that's all sides. We want to affect all the faces. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the next parameter is literally the intensity of the glow. So we can have from 0.0 to 1.0. That's the range. So I'm going to put 1.0 to start with, which is the maximum glow. And then once I'm happy with that, I'm going to click save. And we should see that my box goes glowing, and so should yours. Yep, there you go. Glow, glow. Okay?
Nice.
Brilliant. That's the basic. Now what happens if you want to set something else along with that? Well, you do another comma, and everything after this comma, because we've run out of parameters for glow, it will now ask for another one. So we're going to do prim underscore colour. Let's do the colour. Let's see if we can include the colour very quickly.
Okay.
Colour's a bit more harder to grasp, actually, because there's a little bit more that we have to focus on. I'm just going to quickly pop up the thingy on the screen, just so I can double check that I'm right. Yep. So we've got prim colour, which we've already got, and the next thing is the face. So we're going to go all sides, and according to the documentation, the next thing is the colour in a vector format. So we're going to have, I don't know, what colour do you want?
Vector format. I've forgotten that.
RGB.
Well, no. Yeah, but no. But isn't second life different than that? Like in RGB, you have two.
Yeah,
like,
it's from 0 to 1.
from 0 to 1. Okay. So.
Move it like a percentage.
Okay. Red.
Red, so 100. Yep.
Okay.
And then the next one is the alpha. Now, what it means by alpha here, it doesn't mean the transparency of the block, it means the transparency of the colour, so you can blend colours. We're going to just leave it as 1.0, which basically means opaque, which also means that you get the full red colour. Okay, so now that I've got both prim glow and the prim colour options in the one list, I'm going to click save, and you should see it turn red now, with the same glow amount. Yep.
Yep.
Now you'll also notice, by the way, I don't like this for Second Life. The red doesn't show properly. You get a glow around it, but it's like it doesn't feel like it's glowing. It's very weird. Anyway, moving on. So that's how you can set basic settings. Now, for alpha, to set the actual object's alpha, I think you can use LL set primitive params, but I prefer to use LL set alpha.
Okay.
And if you're using an linked object, you can use LL set link alpha. But you can set alpha in LL set primitive params. But I'm not entirely sure what the setting is for it. I'd have to double check with it, but
Okay.
but it doesn't matter for now. People can set it up. But yes, if you want to set the alpha, it's LL set alpha, and you can just do that, and then it's the number. It's all sides, and then the number. So 0.5 would make it slightly transparent. I think that's the right way around.
Is this the same?
Nope, I'm wrong. It's the other way around. It's 0.5 on all sides. It's the same. Sorry for what?
I was gonna say, that is this like gonna be the? Is it gonna be like the set primitive params thing?
No, it's just setting a basic alpha using the amount and the sides. How many sides you want, or all of them. Now you'll notice that
weird.
you'll notice that it's gone a bit weird because the glow is so bright that you literally can't see the box. So if we turn the brightness down on the glow by changing this 1.0 to, I don't know, 0.3 or 0.2, let's go 0.2. You should start to see. Yes, there we go. That's better. So there you go,
okay.
Slightly transparent box that's got a glow and red. And we've done all that using a script rather than using it in the actual options box. And you'll also notice if I click it now, there you go, look, settings are all set properly. Now, the next thing I want to show you is flashing. How do you make the object flash on and off like a light? Well, first of all, I'm going to reset all these settings. So I'm going to go 0 transparency, 0 glow, and I'm going to have a white cube. No, I'm not. I'm going to have a yellow cube. Okay? Go yellow cube. I'm going to clear that out.
You might want to get rid of the wood texture.
Yes, good point actually. The wood texture's getting in the way. There you go. And shall we move it out the shade as well? So we can see it better. Okay. Right, so what we want to do is make this effectively act as a yellow light where it just flashes on and off at a certain constant rate. Now there's two ways you can do this, guys. You can use a timer, which is a bit more of a harder way of doing it, and it feels for this particular purpose a bit pointless, or you can use a while loop. Yes. So a while loop's job is literally to act as a loop, and you just specify inside the brackets of the while part the condition you want when it should stop, but in backwards order. So
I love how these relate quite a lot to like JavaScript and PHP and whatnot.
Yes. So inside the brackets you put a condition that when it's true the while loop runs, when it's false it gets out of the while loop and carries on executing the rest of the code. Okay? But we want it to continuously flash. We don't want it ever to stop. We want the loop to continuously run. So we can trick that by simply putting true in the brackets. And that way the condition will always be true and the code will always run.
Slightly different than JavaScript and PHP, but okay.
In JavaScript you can do that, but just using lowercase true. And in PHP you can also do that.
Oh yeah, of course you can.
Yeah. Okay, the condition inside the brackets must be true to get the loop to run. So if we force it to be true all the time without a condition, it's going to run all the time.
Right.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah.
So all we're going to do in here is we're going to first of all call LL set primitive params to set the glow on. So brackets square prim glow all sides 1.0. Yep, like we did last time.
Yep.
And then we're going to copy and paste that directly after and set it to 0. Okay?
Okay.
Now, there's a few things you should notice before clicking save, and that is LL set primitive params has a bit of a sleep. As in, it makes the script wait. After it's been called, it waits for a few milliseconds. In fact, it says on here it waits for 200 milliseconds. So you'll call this function, it'll set it to the glow, and it will wait for 200 milliseconds before calling the next line of code.
Okay. Can you change that?
Yes, you can set it to 0 by using LL-set link primitive params fast.
Okay.
Which we'll cover that in a minute, don't worry about it. But because it's got this 200 millisecond wait, that's actually quite helpful for us. Because now, if I was to clear that line out and just go ahead and save that, you'll notice that this box does a bit of a weird flash thing. On off, 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 yeah?
Sure. It's
So
like
it's
an
working.
old style TARDIS lantern, that is.
Yes, but it's very fast. How on earth would we slow this down? Well, you can use another function. I don't know whether I've mentioned this one, but it's really useful. LL sleep.
I don't think we've used that one at all. No, we haven't.
What you do is all you're doing is you're sleeping the script. You're telling it to wait a few seconds. So inside the box you put how many seconds. Now we know that these two functions sleep for 200 milliseconds each. So I'm going to do another 0.2. So that's 200 milliseconds in seconds. And you'll notice all of a sudden my box starts to slowly flash. Yeah?
I think I'll change that to 0.5.
Yes, you could do that, but be careful with the fact that these are 200 milliseconds each. So now what you'll get is on, wait a second, on, wait a second, on, wait a second, on, wait a second. See, it's a bit out of sync now. So to fix that, you can actually put LL sleep. Now you know it's 200 milliseconds, 200 milliseconds, 500 milliseconds minus 200 milliseconds is 300 milliseconds, so you want 0.3 here. It's 200 plus that. Actually, no, go put 0.5 and see what happens. Ah, there we go. It actually works right. So there you go.
Huh.
A nice slow flash. Nice slow flash.
I like that. I like that.
And that's using a while loop. So what's happening here though is this code is continuously executing, which means state entry never gets left. It's always running the same code over and over again. The problem you might find with this is that you can't really run other code, but I haven't properly tested that. So what I'm going to do, Jack, you don't have to do this.
Okay. Yep.
This is just me testing to see whether I can send messages to the subject, because if I can't, this proves the point. It means that this while loop is stopping this particular script from executing any other code. Now, if this does work, however, it means the opposite. It means that I'm wrong, and that while this code is running, events still fire. So, I'll try channel equals 0, message equals hi. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, I've just deleted all of that. Let's undo all that. No, there we go. I've typed mine.
You got the insert thing on.
Yeah, yeah. Just things to go wrong with me. There we go. That's better, right? I'm going to go LL say, I've picked up your message. And then just going to put above here, just before the while loop, LL listen 0. Before the while loop, because remember this code is constantly executing, so it would never execute anything after it. So now, hopefully, if I send hi, am I right? I think I'm right, Jack.
Nothing's coming through.
It's not picking it up. But if I was to disable this while loop using comment lines,
Can you just do like a CSS or a JavaScript comment by using backslash and star?
I could do, but I was being lazy. Never try it. There you go. Look, I picked up your message. So guys, this is very useful to know, because what I've basically proven here is, yes, it's fine using a while loop, but this entire script will now no longer do anything else but flash that thing, whatever's inside that brackets. Because the while loop's always running, the script is focusing only on that.
So preferably, would you want to do everything you've done underneath above?
Yes. No, because it would still run this first, so it would always be trapped in the while loop.
Alright, okay.
In fact, I think I can prove that. Actually, no, it might moan at me if I do this, because I don't think you can put anything before LL state entry. No, it allowed it, but I bet it still won't work. No, see.
Interesting.
No. Now, okay, what happens if you want to do that though? What happens if you want to actually make the script do other things apart from just flashing? Well, this is where you have to use a timer, which is a little bit more tricky, but it still is very easy to do. All you're going to do is replace this while loop with an LL set timer event function. So I'm just going to put it before it while we've still got the code. So I'm going to put 0.5 because you wanted 0.5 time difference, Jack. I'm going to copy this code delete that and put a timer event below it and paste that in. Okay. I'm just going to quickly check this because we can use LL sleep in a timer, you see, but we have to be careful because these sleeps will prevent this listen from working. But with LSL, it queues events. So, for example, if the script is sleeping, it will eventually pick up your messages. So it shouldn't be too much of a problem. You might just find a small lag. So I'm going to turn off the timer here, 0.0. And then at the bottom of the timer, I'm going to turn it back on. If you're wondering why I'm doing that, why don't I just leave it alone? It's because it's the first time it fires, and this code hasn't finished executing. After 0.5 seconds, this timer is going to execute again, which means you might get a bit of a race condition where it starts happening, and then all of a sudden stops, and happens again, and happens too fast, and stops. It's a bit like jumping about. So we want to first shut up a moment, don't do any more timers events, let this first timer execute, then do it again. Wait 5.5 seconds, do it again, stop, do it all this code, wait 5 seconds, and basically like the while loop was doing. Okay, so let's just try this. I've never really properly thought how this is going to go. Let's try it. And it's telling me off. What am I doing? What I'm doing wrong? That's because I put a capital L there, because I'm an idiot. And hopefully... Right. You'll notice it's a bit slower this time. And that's probably because of this timer event. Yes, because it's doing 0.5 seconds plus 0.5 seconds plus 0.5 seconds. So you have 0.5 seconds plus 0.5 seconds, that's 1 second, and then 0.5 seconds. So 1, 0.5, 1, 0.5, which is why it's slowing down a bit. So we can fix that by putting that to 0.1. So if I just speed that up a bit now, hopefully you won't notice much difference now. There you go, it's a bit faster now, a bit more consistent. Yeah?
Yep.
So
okay.
you'll notice, Jack, this is actually quite tricky to get the timings right. I've always found that with LSL, timing is always a problem. You have to do a lot of messing with the numbers to get them to do it the right speed. And as I said, LL sleep does cause the script to wait a few seconds, depending on how much you put in that.
So what does the timer actually do?
Effectively, this is acting like a thread. In programming, a thread is like a bit of code that you're running outside of the other bit of code you're running so that the two can run alongside each other. Because this is inside an event, this gets executed by a separate thread that the LSL engine is running on Second Life servers. So what happens is we can run other code, right? And at the same time, this code can be executed asynchronously, which is a nice word to use, which basically means it runs at the same time as other code. So by moving into a timer, we're not letting the script pause, we're just saying, just do this on a separate thread. By the way, guys, if you can hear banging, sorry, that's next door. Okay. Now, if I put hi in the chat, hopefully, yes. Now, you'll notice that it took a few seconds, about a second, to pick that message up. And the reason before that is because of these two LL sleeps. They were effectively sleeping the script for a few seconds, which prevented the listen event from firing.
Makes sense.
Because it's on a timer, it was just able to pick the message up. It was like on a queue. Imagine it like when I sent a message, it got added to a queue, and then when the sleep had finished, it got pushed to the top of the queue and executed. That's basically what's happening.
That makes sense.
We can stop that as well. We can completely get rid of those LL sleep. We can make this completely fluent by simply having an on variable at the top here. So we say the light's off to start with. We say on equals true. Sorry, on equals not on, which basically means toggle the on variable on at full. If it's true, make it false. If it's false, make it true. And then we could say if it is now on, make it go on. And oops. If it's not, then make it go off. And then we can get rid of these LL sleeps altogether. We can then change the time back to 0.5, I think, because there's no sleeps there to do it for us. Hopefully, this should work similar. Yep. So what's happening now is we're not using any LL sleeps at all. This script should run immediately. So as soon as I type hi, I should immediately get a response. I don't. I'm thinking why.
No, do it again. Do it again.
Oh, sorry, wrong message. There we go. So
No,
it's-
no, literally, you're putting that in, and I'm getting it straight away. Literally. Boom, both together.
yeah. It's every now and again it's slightly lagging. I think it's because of these functions. It is.
Ah,
I'm wrong. It is. Remember, they have a 200 millisecond wait, which leads us very nicely into the next
course.
function, LL set link primitive params. Now, LL set link primitive params was the same thing as the first one, and it still does have a 200 millisecond wait, but you have to put link underscore set at the start. And what that will do is tell it that for all the linked objects that you have, make them all glow. You can also change link set to link this to represent the one link that you've put the script in. You can also set it to link all others, which basically affects all the other prims apart from this one that the script's in. So there's quite a lot of link constants that you can use. Find them online, guys. They're very useful.
so this is what you kind of used for our exterior then, haven't you? Wasn't
Yes.
it?
Yes, for our lamp I use link this, and for everything else I use link all others. I'm going to use link set for this because it doesn't really matter. Actually, to be resource intensive, I'm only going to use link this because we only need to affect the one box and there's nothing else we've got linked to it, so it's fine. So now if I save this, you'll notice it should run the exact same way it did before, same 200 millisecond wait. So now if I go high, bit of a slowdown, then it's a bit fast, bit fast, bit fast, bit of a slowdown. So it's a bit inconsistent because of that 200 millisecond wait, but we can speed that up by putting the word fast at the end of that. And now there's no milliseconds of wait at all. It will literally be a 0.5 wait. So it should always, oops, be instantaneous. As you can see, there's a slight little bit of a slowdown there, but that's only probably because it's picking up messages and like processing them and server lag and whatnot. So there you go. We've now made a really fast on and off script because we've got no waiting functions being used. It's using a proper timer. It's running on a separate thread on the engine. We can process these other messages very fast. Basically, I've made a very resource efficient flashing light. And that's pretty much it. The only thing I haven't taught you guys how to do is a nice glow, like a flashing glow, like with our TARDIS jack.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I did cheat. I did use LL Sleep. And that was only because, number one, it was running in a separate script. So it wasn't going to affect other scripts. And number two, I could do it with a timer. But damn, would it be hard work to get all the variables set up properly and working. So I could actually show you the way I did it. It's very quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Using a basic while loop. Well, two while loops actually. I first of all had a float for a glow. So I said I knew the glow was going to start off at 0.0. I then did while the glow is less than 1.0. Actually no, because I didn't have it at 1.0, I did it at 0.5, didn't I? I'll do that. 0.5. LL set link primitive params fast. Link this prim glow all sides, and then I'm going to have glow as the amount that I want to set it as. Then I'm going to do glow plus equals 0.1 because we're going to increment the glow by 1 on our next iteration. In fact, no, I'll do that before it. Okay. And then I'm going to go glow equals 0.5, and then I'm going to copy and paste that here. And this time we're going to say is more than 0.0 minus 1. Okay, and I'm hoping that works fine. Let's see what it does. Should hopefully. And straight away, script errors.
Boing, 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 boing.
Hopefully that should get rid of the script error. I've just incremented that by 0.1 because it's basically saying that we're trying to go to minus 0.1. Yeah, and that's already moaning at me. Why?
You sure?
Hang on, I think it might be having a bit of a... Because it's using the fast function, isn't it? So it might be too fast for it. Yes, there we go. Kind of working. I'm going to get rid of that 0.5 to 0.1 again because I need to speed it up a bit. Oh, shut up next door. Okay, there we go. Look, it's doing a nice bit of a staggery glow, but it's working nice. If I set it to 0.01, okay, so what I've gone ahead and done here, all I've done is I've just lowered the amount that we're increasing it by. I've introduced an LL sleep command for a tiny amount just to get it to not be as fast. I've had to use the fast function again, guys, because it was too slow and it was becoming staggery. And I've also gone ahead and done the same thing for this side. So what we've effectively got here is a tiny script, and we're going to make it a bit bigger so you can see it a bit better. We first of all get a zero glow. We check to see whether or not it's less than 0.5. If it is, we go ahead and increment it by 0.1. We set it, and we then wait for 0.01 seconds. We then make sure, once it's all done, we've got to 0.5 now. We go, okay, we definitely have got 0.5. I just make sure by resetting it there. And then I say, are we more than 0.1 now? Yes, we still are. Minus 0.1, sorry. Set it, wait for 0.01 seconds, and keep doing that until we get to 0.1, and then we reset the timer. Okay. And technically I could make sure that it definitely hits 0.0 by simply doing that, which will just force it to be 0.0 before the timer restarts again. And so then you get this nice, lovely, slow, smooth flash. And if I click on it, you can even see the little glow amount there going up and down very nice and softly. So guys, if you want to look at that code, even copy it, go ahead. It's right there. Ignore this bit at the top, this listen stuff. It should still work, by the way, that listen. Yep. As you saw, it took a second while it was doing the glow.
That's not surprising, I guess, is it?
The script will wait while the glow is doing the up and down. But as soon as it hits down, it will fire the event. You'll notice that. As soon as it hits down, there you go, look, the message fires. So you do have that slowdown. To fix that, you would have to use the timer completely without any LL sleep. And you wouldn't be able to use the while as well. You'd have to do it all properly using variables, which would be a bit harder. Much harder to do, actually. So there you go. That's the basic code for it, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. It is very basic. There's a lot more things you can do with LL set primitive params, by the way. You've got prim glow, prim texture, prim color, prim physics. Yeah, prim point light, which is the light. And by the way, prim point light is a bit harder because you've got a lot more to think about, like intensity, fallout.
Well, we could look at that in the next video, couldn't we?
Well, we could do. We could expand on LL set primitive params. There's a big function to work with. Three functions. You've got LL set primitive params, LL set link primitive params, and LL set link primitive params fast. The fast one is the one you'd want to use if you don't want any delay. The other two are if you want a 200-second delay, depending on what you want to do it with. There you go, guys.
We could do videos for each separate one, actually, couldn't we? That might be easier. Helps break it down.
Yes. I know I might have rushed this, guys. I'm so sorry if I have. But time is of the utmost importance. So we have got other things to do. So yeah. There you go.
We do hope you've enjoyed. I have most certainly learned a lot from this. Honestly, though, I have kind of half the code in there is quite familiar to me. Not LSL related, mainly other things that you do. So it is quite it is recommended if any of you are keen, like web developers, or keen in start coding, like you want to start HTML, CSS. I do recommend looking at JavaScript, at least JavaScript jQuery next, because believe me, if you go through all that, half the stuff you see in any kind of programming language like PHP and LSL, most of it will look very, very, very familiar to you and much easier to also understand. It's just mainly the whole logic and obviously putting things together where they should be. And of course LSL does have a lot of differences compared to other programming languages.
Before we go, I just want to very quickly show, while you've been talking, Jack, I've noticed that this glow is ever so slightly lagging a bit. And the reason for that, guys, you will need to take into account when you're scripting. Your region might cause a lag depending on server costs, like what's going on the server. So do be aware that the glow might slow down a tiny bit and you might notice it as a bit of a stagger. But I've just noticed that happening. Every now and again it's been speeding up and slowing down a tiny bit. But so do take that into account. Carry on. Okay, so
that is where we'll finish. Until next time, see you guys soon. Take care and bye for now.
And bye bye, guys.
That is all we have for today, folks.
Join us again next week on another Sci-Fi Geeks video to find out what adventure we embark on next.
Thank you for watching. Feel free to like and comment on the video below. Remember to subscribe so you can keep up to date with our latest videos.
Till next time.
Take care, stay safe, and remember,
let your geeky side out. Toodle pip.
Toodle pip.